Okay, now we're going to talk about adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Remember, what is a mixed number? Well, a mixed number is a whole number part and a fraction part. So if we're adding mixed numbers, we're going to be adding whole numbers and then fractions together, two different parts. So let's look at this one. Remember, the bottom of our fraction is how many slices make a whole, but it's also the fraction's name. Okay, so if it's just its name, it's no different than us saying 5 Susies plus 2 Susies. Okay, so as you're doing this, go ahead and do the fraction part first. Just like if you were adding normal numbers, you'd start on the right. 5 Susies plus 2 Susies would be 7 Susies. So 5 eighths plus 2 eighths would be 7 eighths. Okay, now let's look at that. Does 7 eighths make anything other than just a fraction? On this particular problem, no. 7 eighths is just a fraction. So you leave it like that, and then you add your whole pizzas. 1 whole plus 2 wholes is 3 wholes. Well, let's look at that as a visual. Open my marker. Let's look at that as a visual. This means 1 whole and then 1 cut into 8, and we have 5 of them, right? Well, then we're going to add 2 wholes to that. 1, 2, and then 2 more slices. 1, 2. Well, how much do you actually have? You have 3 wholes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8. So this would be your final answer. Okay, let's look at another one. 1/10 plus 4/10. First thing I'm going to say is anytime a problem is written side to side, you probably should write it up and down. So let's move over here in our extra space and write it. 3 1/10 plus 4/10. Okay, so let's look at that problem. 1/10 plus 4/10 is 5/10. We don't have anything there. We don't have enough there to make another whole. So then 3 wholes plus no wholes would be just 3 wholes. Now that you guys know how to do this, you always should have your answer in simplest form. So what goes into both 5 and 10? Well, 5 goes into both. So we know that 3 5/10 would be, don't let the pizza guy steal your whole pizzas. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So 3 1/2. Or you could have just said 3 and then 5 is half of 10. So 3 1/2. Okay, let's look at the next one. Got 5 6/7 plus 3 2/7. Let's write it up and down. 5 6/7 plus 3 2/7. Color's kind of hard to see. Okay, so let's look at this. 6/7, the bottom is just his name. 6/7 plus 2/7 is 8/7. Well, right there, you should be thinking, that doesn't sound right. 8/7. I wouldn't go around saying that. Well, that's because you wouldn't, but let's go ahead and add the wholes together first. 5 wholes plus 3 wholes is 8 wholes, right? Okay, you wouldn't go around saying 8 8/7. Well, what is 8/7 really? Well, we have 8 slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 make a whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's really 1 whole and 1/7. Well, again, you wouldn't go around saying 8 and 1 and 1/7. So you would just have to put these together, giving you 9 wholes and 1/7. Okay, now let's look at subtracting. Okay, this is not too hard. Again, you probably want to write it up and down. So 4 wholes and 9/16 minus 5/16. 9/16, remember the bottom is just its name. So 9 Susies minus 5 Susies would be 4 Susies, right? So 9/16 minus 5/16 would be 4/16. 4 holes minus no holes would be 4 holes. But then you should notice that this problem can be put in simplest form. So what goes into both 4 and 16? Well, 2 does, or you might already see 4. Don't let the pizza guy jip you your whole pizzas. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So simplest form would be this answer right here. Okay, let's look at this one right here because it's pretty simple to do even side to side. 8 holes minus 8 holes is 0, but you do not have to put a 0 there. Okay, 4/9 minus 1/9 would be 3/9. What goes into both of those? Well, 3 does. So really it'd be 1/3. Okay, look at this one. Look at this one. 5 minus 3.5. Well, let's write that up and down. And keep your things lined up. So 5 holes, the 3 holes line up. And then your half over here. If I'm subtracting these, we don't have anything up here. So you can't do, it's no different than whenever you do 50 minus 32. You can't do, if we're doing 50 minus 32, let's look right here. If we're doing 50 minus 32, you can't do 0 minus 2, right? You have to come over here and borrow. Well, it's kind of the same thing, just a little different. Okay, so we can't do no slices minus some slices. If you were at a party and you had 5 whole pizzas, but I wanted a half, what would you have to do? Well, you'd have to go over here and you'd have to take one of these holes away, leave you with 5 holes, and you'd have to bring your hole over here. And what are we going to cut that hole into? Well, what are we working with? We're working with halves. So we would cut this into halves, which would give us 2 of those halves. So if we were subtracting these, you would have to borrow a hole, but then cut it into halves. So now I can say 2 halves minus 1/2 is 1/2. And then 4 holes minus 3 holes is 1 hole. And that would be your final answer. Let's do one more like that. Let's do 6 minus 3 and 7/12. Okay, 6 minus 3 and 7/12. Right here, I don't have anything here. I don't have anything here, so I can't subtract 0 minus 7/12. So just like you would, if you're thinking pizza, if you have 6 pizzas and I want to take 6 whole pizzas and I want to take 7/12 from you, well, you're going to have to take one of these pizzas away, bring it over here, and you're going to have to cut it. Well, what are we cutting it into? How many make a whole pizza? Well, if you're looking down here, I'm trying to take 12ths from you. So I would have to cut this pizza into 12. Well, if I have a whole pizza and it's cut into 12ths, then that would mean that I have 12 twelfths. Okay? 12 twelfths minus 7 twelfths would be 5 twelfths. And then 5 holes minus 3 holes would be 2 holes.